Good afternoon, Charles Moscowitz here. It seems to me that the Drudge report has gone completely to the other side. Drudge has completely sold out. I noticed that there was something askew, maybe a month ago, maybe about 3 weeks ago, particularly when Drudge began to report on the impeachment hearings. And it was so biased against Trump that I found it to be very depressing and very alarming and not consistent with other information that I was getting about this. I mean, it just was really critical in a way that almost seemed extreme, and it was almost like reading the New York Times or the Washington Post or some of the other liberal leaning and liberal media outlets. And yeah, I just could sense that there was something wrong with the Drudge Report. Well, since then, I have viewed a YouTube video by Josh Bernstein, the host of the Josh Bernstein Show. He does a great job. I recommend my listeners check out Josh Bernstein and subscribe. He's very cutting edge. And he did some research on it. I'm not going to get into the details. You'll have to go to his site. But what he discovered was that maybe about, I don't know, 6 months ago, the Drudge Report fired its entire staff of ad people, its ad company, the company that handles ad revenue. And that up till that point, the Drudge Report was getting a substantial amount of money every month from ad revenue, about $8 million. I mean, this is one of the most successful, internet news gathering sites. Drudge was out there. He was one of the first. He's cutting edge. He broke the Monica Lewinsky story back in the 1990s. And for about 4 or 5 weeks, they had no advertising. And then all of a sudden, this new agency comes into play called Cube or something like that. This new agency had no background in advertising sales, was not heard of. No one ever heard of them. And they were brought on to handle the Drudge advertising. Now, according to Josh Bernstein, this Cube group is affiliated with Google, and it has some connection to Matt Drudge's father, Bob Drudge, who apparently is a liberal activist. And he doesn't know how much money the Drudge Report is getting from this new group, this Google group, which would tell us whether or not money was a part of this. Maybe Drudge sold out. Maybe there was so much money involved. I mean, how much money can a man get? $8 million a year. I mean, isn't there ever enough? If that be the case, I mean, I can't even imagine making any even a tiny fraction of that. But yet maybe money was part of the figure, or maybe he just got tired of being independent and tired of doing what he was doing. But however it took place, and the report has gone completely into the dark side ever since Google took over. And I don't think it's now the Drudge Report is not to be relied on. They are no different than reading the liberal left media. They are shrill and they're hysterical in their coverage of Donald Trump, whom they now don't like and hate. And, it's just a very troubling development, especially since we all, as conservatives, assume that Drudge is at least somewhat on our side. I've been looking at Drudge for a decade. Usually at least once a day I check in it. And it's very influential with most of the media, including the liberal media. And so I now when I look at it, to me it's awful. I don't even, I'm glancing at it, but I don't even, frankly, I'm not sure I'm probably going to wean myself away from it altogether. So I just want to conclude by pointing out that I recall many years ago David Brock. He's the one who wrote the smear attack, frankly, on Anita Hill, regardless of what you think of Anita Hill. He coined the phrase slightly nutty, slightly slutty. I mean, really nasty stuff. I'm not going to get into that story other than to point out that At the time, he was touted as being a conservative smear merchant. He completely shifted over to the left, and now he's the head of these smear groups that are attacking anyone that's not on the left. I think he's affiliated with either MoveOn.org or some other group that analyzes Media Matters. I think it is his outfit. But I bring him up because he wrote a book, maybe could have been probably about at least 10 years ago now, and I don't remember the name of the book. But in this book, he lifts the lid on all conservatives and exposes their darker sides and their peccadillos. And one of the people that he exposed in the book was Matt Drudge. Now, I remember what he said, but I'm not going to get into it because I don't want to go into those things. But suffice to say that his expose of Matt Drudge displayed a person that is less than wholesome. Let's just put it that way. He showed a rather unsavory aspect to Matt Drudge's character and personality. And that Matt Drudge, I'm not here to cast aspersions, and I'm not here to get explicit about it. You could look it up yourself. But suffice to say that Matt Drudge is a very shadowy figure. He's always been very reclusive. When he first started, he gave a few interviews. I think he actually briefly had a TV show. But since then, and that was in the 90s, he's rarely appeared publicly, rarely spoken to anyone in the media. So we have no idea what he's up to. I would simply note that with regard to the Drudge report, he's up to no good. That report is not to be trusted. That report is part of the liberal left establishment at this point. It is no longer on the side of the conservatives and trying to get to truths. Now, the alternatives to where can we turn to now? Well, I mean, I get the Daily Digest from Breitbart, which I think is great. It has humor to it. It's appealing to a cross-section of people of different ages. I think they do a very good job of reporting. I like Patriot, the Patriot station on Sirius XM. There's some very good hosts there, very good shows. I particularly like David Webb. And the Breitbart show is very good. Linda Mansour is very good. There's a lot of good people over there. Other than that, I mean, the Grabian media report is good. Other than that, what is it? I get a couple of them. Maybe I'll get into that later in another video. But I just am bringing this up because we have to go elsewhere. Western media is a good outlet. We have to go elsewhere. Drudge Report, as far as I'm concerned, is dead. Anyway, thanks for watching, everyone. Charles Moscowitz. Have a great day.